Please just give us your name, your title, and what you do, or your company and what you do in the company.
My name is Craig Terblanche, and I'm the founder of the Exo group of companies. So that's Exo Advisory, ExoSystems, ExoFutures, and ExoFactory. So clearly I'm a bit of a serial entrepreneur, but with a passion for sustainable impact. Just to elaborate a little bit, the group is essentially driving sustainable impact and traditionally serving corporate markets. But so after many years of helping corporates in financial services, media, entertainment, and other industries to digitize and succeed, grow in the market, we've shifted our focus to building community cooperatives for digital and financial inclusion. So from that perspective, our advisory and consulting is really around ecosystem incentives and governance. Our ExoFutures business is around the skills development and learning experience in those ecosystems. ExoSystems is about the digitization of the entities in the ecosystems, whether those are corporates or social enterprises. And then ExoFactory is about venturing and taking new ventures from seed to scale so that we can uplift those ecosystems.
So why firstly an entrepreneur, and why the shift towards more the impact side?
Yeah, so I became an entrepreneur out of corporate frustration, really being the youngest senior manager at the Exco, and getting really frustrated with what you can't do, and being frowned on when I asked why, often in corporate circles, but why can't we do it differently? Why do we have to keep doing it the way we've always done it? And this was back in the banks back in the day. So I started my first advisory business to really explore that notion of questioning everything that we were doing and asking why as much as possible to try and improve efficiencies and change the game, really. So that's why I became an entrepreneur. It's not been an easy journey. But we've had a number of good years of platform and digital enablement in corporates, but again personally hit the frustration. So my team kind of runs the business as usual, but personally hit the frustration of the mindset of people being very rigid and not open to change and not open to innovation, etc., and decided that if we don't do something significant about job creation and the economy and change our thinking and change our approach, we're in trouble. So came across this notion of platform ecosystems where you can go into an ecosystem and come up with a new economic model that you can digitize, that you can upskill the people in, that you can identify the opportunities in an ecosystem or a community, and enable them to solve their own problems and empower them to be accountable for their own problems, but give them the tools, give them the digital access, and give them the capabilities to really compete in the market and participate in the digital and financial inclusion that they've been excluded from traditionally, with the big corporates and the traditional markets hoarding all the resources and making a few more people rich when there's another unicorn or whatever the case might be. How do we create the inclusivity? How do we create the shared value? And how do we uplift communities is why I've shifted my focus to that sustainable future that we have to drive if we're going to succeed, whether it's in South Africa, Africa, or anywhere in the world for that matter.
What has been, or what are some of the areas that have been the toughest parts of the journey? Where have you really kind of had to dig deep to keep going?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge that all entrepreneurs have is this notion of sustainable revenue, which really comes to, I mean, what I've learned is it comes to being really clear about the problem you're solving for a very specific market, you know. So Peter Thiel talks about a monopoly of one, you know, rather than trying to be all things to all people and compete on the same terms as the rest of the market. If you can identify that one thing where you can be the monopoly, then you can find sustainable revenue and customers that will pay you to solve that problem. You know, so I often say to entrepreneurs or budding entrepreneurs when I coach them, is if you can identify a common problem in your community, and you can find a way to solve that problem for your community, then you've got a business. Then you can start generating cash and getting people to pay you for that. But you have to learn to say no. So that's a big thing that entrepreneurs struggle with, you know, especially at the outset, is, you know, every shiny new thing looks like a revenue opportunity, but it often isn't, you know. So learn to say no, and then learn to manage your cash flow against customer revenue with the variable costs that are associated with that revenue, with minimum fixed cost, you know, because the more you create overheads and the more you create fixed cost, the more difficult it is to sustain your cash flow. So we've built quite a nice tool around cash flow management that drives customer revenue and variable cost and avoids fixed cost, and shows entrepreneurs why that's so important. So that was my experience of what you need to do in that space.
What do you know now that perhaps you wish you knew then, if anything? What would you say to yourself?
Yeah, the tenacity that is required. I guess say just keep moving forward. I don't get stuck. I think there'd be, with tenacity, you actually find a way to move forward. So being an entrepreneur is not an easy task, and don't fool yourself in thinking that it will be. But, you know, on the other side of the coin, on the flip side, there's no security in corporate jobs anymore. You know, there's no security in the future of traditional markets. So we need more entrepreneurs, we need more tenacity. And, you know, if there's a way to learn to be robust and persistent and tenacious, then that's what you should explore.